Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Live Strong podcast. I feel like I'm sounding a little bit like a man today, which probably isn't the nicest sound in your ears. But I guess on a bit of a tangent to start the podcast for today, I've been having voice issues. It is something that I think was inevitable to happen because a lot of my job over the past 8 years has been screaming at people um, to some degree. So at the gym over the past, it was before the wedding, I reckon the last 6 months or so. By the end of the week, I pretty much lose my voice, and I maybe don't lose it like completely, but I lose it enough that like my voice has noticeably changed. And some weeks are worse or better than others. And yeah, like a few people were like, you should probably get that checked, make sure you don't ruin your vocal cords. And I'm like, I know I'm a good singer, but like, do we need to protect my voice that much? And the answer is yes. So I'm on the road to sort my throat voice situation out. So if you hear me sounding like a man by about Thursday in the gym, just know that I'm not sick. I literally have some sort of issue happening with my voice. And who would have thought? Like, what a random issue to have in your life. And I feel like such a fraud, like a singer fraud, when I tell people that I've got voice issues and they're like, Olivia, you can't sing to save your life, doll. And I'm like, I know this, but I need a voice to be able to talk. So we actually went to the football last night, and I think that just topped me off for like the voice of the week. So now we're at the man voice for the next 48 hours. I'll get my voice back and then we'll go again. But like for this weekend, for example, so Wednesday it's cardio day, which is definitely the most vocal coaching session. So that was Wednesday. I coached group sessions all day Thursday. Then I went to the footy Thursday night, and it's a long weekend, and we're going out for my sister's birthday on Sunday, which, you know, I'm a loud person. I can't help it sometimes. And just going out for a few hours in locations that are noisy will also cause me to lose my voice. So like by the time Monday comes around, I'm going to have no voice again, and we're just going to be in a silent period. So moral of my long 3-minute story, guys, the voice is an issue. Now, if you're watching this via YouTube today, you'll see I've got my laptop on my lap. I'm giving professional podcasting vibes today, guys. And it's because who would have thought I've actually pre-planned my episode today? Yes, I have. And I do find it hard to come up with these podcast episodes, much like how Phoebe and I struggle to come up with content posts on the Instagram page. Like, there's so much content in my head, but I guess there's so much that then I don't know where to start, therefore I don't do anything about it. And secondly, I forget, or I'm trying to get better at this, but I forget how much people don't know of things in the nicest way possible. Like, not saying people are stupid, but like you forget, it's very easy to forget at a beginner level how much people don't know. And you know, obviously I do understand that very well, but I think sometimes I could exaggerate topics more because people probably do find that interesting, where I'm like, I feel like I could talk about it for 2 minutes and that's enough, but I probably could talk about that for 30 minutes and people would still get something from it. So there's lots of episodes I can touch on, but sometimes I get a bit lost what I'm going to do, and you know what. But today we're following a bit of a trend, being a sheep, as they would say. And I don't know if you've seen on TikTok and Instagram and all that jazz, people have been doing these videos with like that specific sound behind it. Can't even tell you what the sound is. And it's like propaganda I didn't fall for. That was the vibe. And essentially the whole point of these videos is for people to be like, propaganda I didn't fall for, as in trends or really popular things that a lot of society follow, but you stood against the rest and didn't follow that trend And it might be something that like, generally it's people trying to prove that they're really good. You know, like they didn't do, well, like maybe not even good, but like it's sort of showing where people are different in their life, I guess. Some people are like trying to flex doing it. Some people are like, I didn't, propaganda, I didn't fall for going to a run club. Okay, that's one of the things. And it's that person being like, you know, everyone's going to a run club, it's a trend, but I didn't fall for it. That's the vibe of what people are putting up. Or propaganda, I didn't fall for drinking matcha. Again, as we all know, it's a bit of a trend. Everyone's doing it. People are getting their pictures of their bloody green drinks and shit. And this person is saying, I didn't fall for the matcha trend. And I also didn't fall for the matcha trend. Guys, matcha tastes like actual asshole and grass. And back again, if you're adding in the like strawberry syrup and all the shit, like, I don't know, I'm not about drinking my calories, and I'm like, I don't really want to have if I was going to have a sugary drink, I'm having a bloody chocolate thick shake, you know, like I'm not having a green grass drink with a bit of strawberry syrup in it. So I'm not really about the matcha. I'm sorry to those out there. Also, I've got a cup of tea today. How cozy of me. I do love a tea. That is propaganda. Is that how you say the word? Propaganda. Whatever, you get the gist. I'm always on the propaganda of the teas. English breakfast today. Bit of sweetener, bit of just a dash of milk. Bob is your absolute uncle. It's delicious. Anyway, this is the trend we're going to do, but via podcast form. So a bit fun and fresh and a bit of chatting by Olivia. Now, guys, I thought, okay, what propaganda didn't I fall for? And I was like, I don't know. What I probably could have done is just gone through other people's videos and then like wrote a list and like being like, oh yeah, that's applicable to me, and do it like that. But I didn't do it like that. What I did was I asked my best friend ChatGPT, and I literally put, because I think I'm becoming more aware of how helpful ChatGPT is in this world. At first, I actually just did not know and understand what was happening with it. And I had a business coach for about 2 years, but probably about a year and a half ago. So, you know, working out the maths, is that like, let's say the beginning of 2023. I think it was the end of 2024 and then end of 2022 and then for like 2 years, right? So over that period of time, and she was getting me to use ChatGPT for a few different things. But like, again, I wasn't really into it. I was like, it's always just spitting out random shit to me. It doesn't sound good, whatnot. But now I just been asking it like random things to be helpful. Like today, I was like, what are ideas to use for the current TikTok trend? And then in little quotation marks, propaganda I didn't fall for, relating to health and fitness. That's what I did. I asked it. And I was like, it's going to give me some ideas and then I can just pick what's applicable to me and I can talk about that. And guys, it did. It was like, what did it say? Love this trend. Thanks, mate. You know, so it's given me a good few ideas. I'm probably not going to go through all of them. But as I read through them, like, let's just go through the first one here. And the first one is like the myth that some people follow, and you know, obviously people don't follow, and that's why you'd write this in your list. Lifting weights will make women bulky. And I was like, yes, obviously I preach that lifting weights don't make women bulky, but that is something that I have fallen for, and that's sort of a reoccurring thing. Like, one of the nutrition myths was carbs are bad. Again, I definitely preach that carbs are your main energy source and you need them to train hard, feel good, have energy. But was there a time that I did think carbs are bad? Yes. So I want to sort of let's debunk these myths a little bit further. Like I said, I'm not going to do all of them, but maybe you can sort of see where I was once in a mindset and I guess where I am now. So starting at the top with the lifting weights will make you bulky. And lifting weights does not make you bulky, guys. Lifting weights creates muscle in your body, which creates shape. And our shape is what makes us look that fit, quote unquote, toned look that everyone wants. Everyone's like, I want to have, I want to have like that hourglass look. Sort of, you want to have a little bit of back muscles, you want to have a nice skinny waist, you want to have a booty, and then you want to have some definition in your legs. That's what everyone wants. They don't want to be humongous like a bodybuilder, but they want a bit of that. And then people think they're going to start, just as an example, start running, to get that look. And you're not going to get that look by running, right? Yes, maybe you're going to lose body fat, but you're not going to have any muscle mass there for you to create that shape. And that's why a lot of runners are sort of straight up and down like a pencil, let's say, because they don't initially have that muscle mass on them. In saying that, right, if you are solely strength training and weight training and eating for muscle growth, yes, you're going to have more muscle mass on you than a runner. Like than someone whose main focus is running and maybe they're just doing some strength training. You know what I mean? So does lifting weights make women bulky? No, it doesn't make you bulky. It doesn't make you gain muscle mass. Bloody hope it does. And you know what? I've been trying to grow my biceps for about 15 years, guys, and I don't think they've really gained many centimeters. And the unfortunate truth is, especially as a woman, that it is really hard to gain muscle mass. And it's something that takes a lot of hard work. And like I said, a lot of dedication. It takes a lot of food. It takes a lot of the right training, consistent training to do that. So lifting weights is going to only make you strong. It's only going to help create more of the physique that you want. It's going to help prevent injuries. So I don't actually think I've ever really fallen for that myth. I've always wanted to be strong, and I've always loved strength training. Like I've always wanted to be strong and have muscle. I think in growing up in sports, I was sort of lucky to idolize people who were quite muscular. Don't know. Anyway, that's that one. Second one, you have to do hours of cardio to lose fat. And I'm sort of going to tweak and change this one. And I would say like that fasted cardio is going to help you lose fat. And this is something that I definitely did fall for. I definitely did fasted cardio back in the day. So that means doing your cardio in the morning without any food in your belly, thinking that because I don't have food in my belly, I'm going to be just working away at fat, and I'm not going to be working away at, essentially you're going to be working away at your muscle. You're not going to really do much on a bloody empty belly, guys, because you need fuel in your muscle to be able to use it, right? And then the rest of our functions in our body will work. But if we're already sort of on the back foot, everything doesn't work how we want it to work. So hours of cardio does not help you lose fat. In matter of fact, you actually burn more calories after a strength workout, in the 24 to 48 hours after a strength workout than you do in a cardio session. So interesting fact for you there. So there you go. If you're not sore, it didn't work. And I don't know if I've ever fallen for that or not. I don't think so. I don't think I've really fallen for that, but obviously that one isn't true, guys. Like if you're sore, generally it means that we've put some sort of different demand, intensity through your muscle, and it's not used to it. So whatever you've done is different. It could be the same exercise, then maybe you've done previous week. So like maybe that's not different. Maybe your rep ranges aren't different, but maybe you've gone heavier. Maybe you did the exercise better. Maybe you've got more range of motion. And because it was different and our body hasn't adapted to that new stimulus, you get sore from that. So depending how different the stimulus is will depend on how sore you are. You know those days when you all those weeks when you're like, oh, I literally cannot walk. And it's generally, we can pinpoint it to be like, oh, it's because we've done this exercise and we haven't done that in a while, or we've just dropped our reps. Like this week in the gym at Live Strong, we've gone from 6 reps in our focus movements down to 4 reps. And I said to the guys in the gym, I expect you to be a bit sore this week. Like a lot of you guys are lifting weights you haven't lifted before or in a really long time. So our body's not really used to carrying this load. And in resulting, you may be a little bit sore, and that's okay. But when you're sore all the time, it generally means you're under recovering and you're not refueling enough post-workout, which in the end will actually probably lead to injury, and it's not gonna, you're probably not gonna be ready to attack that session again to the same intensity. So your results are probably gonna be halted. So yeah, not true. But do you know what I used to do? I vividly remember doing this when I was younger and I was doing aerobics, and I was a kid. I think I've talked about before, but like when I was younger and I was doing aerobics, it sounds like, yeah, whatever, like it was a sport when you were a kid, and it was. But we did do it to a level. We trained and lived at a level as if we were training as a professional athlete while at school. Sounds bizarre, I know, but we were training 5 to 6 days a week, multiple hours a day. I had a PT when I was in high school to work on like specific strength training and whatnot. So like we did all the things to get to the highest level we could, sort of thing. But I remember being so sore, like going back to training the next day or whenever it was, and I literally was like Googling like, can you train hard when you're sore? When I'm sore, can my muscles work the same? Because I was trying to know if the soreness was going to affect my performance at training. Like, because I was like, if my muscles still work the same, I can push through the pain, if that makes sense. Where in hindsight, you actually, when your muscles are sore, you do have something to give still. Your muscles still work. They haven't just stopped working. But if they're not fully recovered, it's like a battery, right? If you haven't fully charged up, well, that's probably not a good example, like something that you like, we'll use the battery, but like, let's say if you haven't fully charged the battery up, you don't have 100% to give. Like you've only got 80% to give and to utilize. Therefore, you're not going to be able to give 100% because the battery isn't fully recharged, right? That's sort of like your muscles. So anyways, off topic, but like that's me being soreness and trying to learn when I'm like 14 years old if I can still perform to my best when I literally couldn't even sit on the toilet. Like, adult, you probably needed a rest day, but we didn't get those. So that was my training little ones. Then my nutrition one, carbs are bad. And this is propaganda I did fall for 100% when I was a kid, which is honestly bizarre. And it was something that my aerobics coach at the time told me, which obviously wasn't true. And I think in hindsight, she also would now know it's not true because she wasn't stupid or anything. But I think it was probably propaganda that she had fallen for, and we all idolized her, so we fell for the propaganda that she fell for, you know, like that sort of revolving circle. And I think her previous coach, when she was coached, probably put these ideas in her head. So it was a lead down effect of that. But we literally would get told to not have carbs after 4 p.m. That was like, you have carbs after 4 p.m. It's just going to sit in you and you go to bed and, you know, you're going to gain fat from it. Essentially, this is what we're being told as like a 15-year-old girl. So, and not to mention in the afternoons, we'd also do the most amount we do our training in the afternoon, which probably wasn't too bad in hindsight because I would have had carbs throughout the day. But if we then had a morning session, that means I hadn't had carbs in 16 hours or so and trained carbless, right? And as we know, carbs it's what's going to help replenish our muscles, get the glycogen back into our muscles, and it is also going to be the fuel that we are going to use out of our muscles when we train. So no wonder I was so sore, guys. I was bloody just chewing away at my muscle trying to jump up and down for 2 minutes. So I definitely don't fall for that now. I am a big carbs girl. I can feel very in tune with my body. I can feel when I'm having a workout and I haven't had enough carbs. Like, I can feel that I just feel like shit. So, carbs are definitely needed for you guys. Don't be sleeping on the carbs. Okay, next one. I've actually just accidentally bloody crossed out of it. So hold your horses there, people, while we just get me ChatGPT up. If you haven't used this ChatGPT yet, guys, you honestly got to get onto it. I have been using it so much. I did it for something else funny today. I was just asking all these random questions just about life as well, which is fine. Sometimes you got to ask some life questions. Okay, we're back. Next one. Clean eating only, no treats out. Have I ever really... I don't think I've really ever fallen for this. I used to always be really envious of people who could have balance in their diet, because I never used to be able to have balance. I would either go all in and then I would try and be like, okay, I'm just going to go out for this meal and be sensible and stuff, but then I'd end up eating heaps or blowing out or feeling gross, and then I did sort of have that yo-yo effect, but I don't think I ever, and still I'm not on the clean eating only train. I'm definitely on the balanced diet, 100%. So no, thank you. You can't eat after 7 p.m. Now, that's sort of like very similar to my no carbs. But I guess also that's with like intermittent fasting, right? Which is, again, is a trend. But intermittent fasting actually is utilized for people with health conditions. And quote me if I'm wrong, but I think it gets used a lot for diabetics to help regulate their glucose. Don't quote me again. I could have been talking out of my ass there on the health condition part there of who it gets utilised for. But people quoted. People bloody get it. They get told to do it by dietitians, and dietitians are people who work with people with health conditions, serious health conditions, and it's a way for them to regulate their health condition. So, interesting fact, it's not actually something that initially was made to be useful as a weight loss tool. People find it helpful because it might suit with their lifestyle. Like, they might be able to have dinner at 6 p.m. and then not eat again until, I think it was a 16-hour window or something. So like 8 a.m. or something, let's say they have breakfast. So they have a really big window. Some people find it good for their digestion and it feels really good. Some people on different shifts at work can find it useful, like whatnot. But there's actually no benefit in you not eating at night, and there's actually no benefit in you having that bigger break of no eating. So like I said, sometimes it can be good to have a bit of a rest and digest on your gut health, not eating at all, but maybe having cleaner food and less processed food, because over a certain period, because you might be like, oh, this will feel better because I've been feeling a bit off in the gut or something, but like there's no benefit in your having that break, because in the same 24 hours, it just matters how many calories you ate, no matter what time you ate them in. And then a few mindset myths. Hopefully you've enjoyed me raving on here, because I feel like these are a lot of things that everyone can probably relate to, that they once have thought was true. And maybe it was propaganda you've fallen for, or maybe you're still falling for now. No days off. So that like obviously resting is bad and stuff like that. Definitely something that I used to fall for. I've gone through phases of training like 7 days a week, days to having just one rest day, back in the day, double sessions. I've done it all. I've done all of the different ways you can do it. When I started working with my bodybuilding coach, and with bodybuilding, taking it back to gaining muscle, my goal for about a year working with her was to try and gain as much muscle as I could. So my calories were bumped up to the highest they've ever been. My training was probably as specific as it had ever been in terms of like, this is what we want to try and grow. Our training is based around that. And over those, I think probably like 3 years I worked, 2 or 3 years I worked with her, that was the only time really I've steered away from the Live Strong training, like the group training, because the group training is my preferred type of training. Like how we do it in the gym essentially is because I like training like that. And it works. But because in my bodybuilding times, we were trying to build up certain muscle groups, I might have had to train my, glutes, for example, 4 or 5 times that week. So not different days, but different exercises. So it wasn't applicable for me to follow the group's training then. So when I was working with her, the first thing she did was stripped me down to only doing 4 sessions a week. 4 only. I wasn't doing any cardio at all. Like I wasn't doing any high intensity sessions, no boot camp styles, no running, no nothing. To be honest, back then I literally would have never gone for a run, and look at me now, bloody runner, track star. But she stripped me back to only doing 4 days a week, and I was religiously at that point, I think, doing 6-ish days a week. And I remember thinking, holy shit, what am I going to do all this spare time? Like, I can't believe I'm only training this many days a week. Am I going to get results? And all these things would go through my mind. And I trusted her and trusted the process. And like, honestly, loved it. Loved it. You always would feel recovered for your sessions. You'd have days you don't have to train. Mentally, so nice to know you don't have to train that day, but you know that tomorrow you can give 200% in your session. So definitely was something that I used to think. And yeah, the no days off. Me and Nathan have had multiple years where we have gone and trained on Christmas Day. And again, it was us being like, we'll go train today so we can go eat all the food. Like earn your food mentality, no days off mentality would be in there. Put your Instagram picture up in the gym on Christmas, getting those gains. But like, in hindsight, I look at people on Christmas Day training. Honestly, do what you will. And some people are like in serious training cycles over Christmas. So like, go off, sis. I'm proud of you for getting your session done. But more times than not, it's like, today's probably a day I can have a rest day. So, and in saying that, like these days, I will have a rest day on Christmas Day because I'll utilize that time to spend with my family and whatnot. But during the Christmas week, I still get my sessions done. So I guess if that meant, like, let's say we were going away or something and it meant that on Christmas Day was one of my days I had to get to the gym, I probably would still prioritize to get to the gym on Christmas Day. But me and Nath used to just do it because we just train every day and be like, oh, we're going to get fat if we don't train on Christmas Day. So definitely have fallen for that propaganda, but do not believe in it at all. More is better. I guess that's sort of the same thing. Yeah, I think that's just sort of meaning like more reps, less rest, being in the gym for 200 hours. I've never been a long gym girl. I'm always an hour and a half max. Get me out of there. Sometimes I like going slow, but yeah, no. I have to be motivated every day. Show you showing up on, oh wait, that's what it's ChatGPT is telling me to do. I don't think I've fallen for that propaganda that I need to be motivated every day, but I think everyone does fall for that idea that they're like, I can't believe these people could do it day in, day out. Like realistically, guys, I've trained consistently for 8 years and I could count on one hand the amount of weeks I've probably had off training in 8 years. Like, It's rare in a whole year I have 1 whole week of training off. So, yeah, I guess people probably look at that and think, my God, how do you stay so motivated, X, Y, and Z? But to me, it's not even discipline. It's not even motivation. It's literally just my life. Like, this is my way of life. I feel good training. I love the challenge. I like the mental challenge, the physical challenge. Yeah, like it makes me feel good. It's something that makes me feel good. So if I didn't do it, I wouldn't feel as good. Even like me and Nathan going to America, which like obviously this is just like us because we're crazy people, but we're going to America at the end of the year. And there's so much I'm excited for. But one of the things I'm really excited for is to train at all of these different American gyms. I know you're probably thinking, Olivia, get your act together, woman. But like, it's something that I love doing. I'm passionate about. Obviously, it's my job. I'm like, I can't wait to go try out these elite gyms. So, yeah, I don't know, the motivation every day. Sometimes I can't be bothered to train, but I never just go, I'm just not going to do it. Like, in my head, there's no other answer but to do it. So, I don't know. And then the last one, as ChatGPT is telling me, my bonus idea, which we're going to give you, that quick fixes work. So, it's used things in here like diet shakes, detox teas, and waist trainers. And yes, I have fallen for this propaganda, guys. The skinny tea or 50T, 50XT it used to be called. Again, back in the aerobics days, I'd be at bloody high school with my 50XT thinking that I'm going to be shredded from it, but I was probably just shitting myself instead. So definitely fallen for the detox teas. And like people still post shit about those teas. And I'm like, you idiot, in the nicest way possible. The shakes, T-Race did isogenics back in the day. So I think we used to have some of the isogenic shakes. I don't think I ever really thought about them making me lose weight, but I remember we used to have at Aldi's, you used to be able to get like meal replacement shakes in the capsules, and we would sometimes have those, but I don't know if I necessarily used them as an idea of thinking that they were going to make me skinny. I think I just thought they were healthy, so I had them. Like I was like, oh, this is a healthy thing to have. Where in hindsight, those things actually can be quite calorie dense, quite full of sugar, depending on what you're using and what you're using it for. Waist trainers, I've never actually been a waist trainer person. In terms of people wear waist trainers to essentially train, quote unquote, train their waist to be smaller. Train their waist to be smaller, my asshole. No, I think that's stupid. Oh, that's a bit blunt, isn't it? No, everyone do what you want to do, but like waist trainers are still a really big thing. And people wear them, they wear them underneath their clothes. They sweat into them, so they're thinking that they're sweating all this body fat off and their waist trainers making their waist too small. I touch wood, like hopefully I stay like this for a while, but like I have quite a small waist. My actual waist ratio is quite small, always has been quite small, which is I'm blessed with, thank you, someone. But like guys, your stomach is literally filled with organs. Like, it can't get smaller. Like, you can lose body fat off it. Yeah, no, you ain't going to be squishing my intestines into each other. So, no waist trainers for Olivia. And that was my last one, guys, of my propaganda that I did and didn't fall for. And as you can see, going through that list, I actually sort of have fallen for all of them over the time. And no wonder why everyone gets so misled by so many things in the health and fitness industry, because it's so easy to. Like, you see your favorite influencers doing it, you see, people on the interweb, and like social media with health and fitness is just like, it's a lot. Like, everyone's doing it. And I think that a lot of people don't know that, well, like, just don't think about that anyone can post health and fitness tips on the internet. They don't have to be educated. Like, They don't have to have any sort of certification or qualification, or they don't have to have any clients. They don't have to have tried the methods that they're saying. Like, anyone can put out anything. So I guess it's important that you're listening to the right people so that you don't fall for the wrong propaganda. But as you can see, all those things I've had my fair share of goes at, and I've learnt my lesson. I've grown. I've, become more educated, and I'm a person I feel like I see through shit quite easily now. So you don't get much by me. I see people doing stupid shit and I'm like, even things that are really, really big trends. And I'm just like, I would never do that. And I would never make my clients do that. So, just know that I'm not going to make you do shit things, guys. I'm always keeping it real with you, Anyway, let me know if there's any propaganda that you've fallen for, or maybe you think you might be falling for. Let me know if this has been interesting. I'm going to have a guest on next week. Exciting. I think that's all from me today, guys. As always, thank you for listening, watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, send me a message if you've liked this episode. If you think I've just raved on with shit for 40 minutes, also give me a holler. I don't take offense to it. And have a beautiful slay of a long weekend. Stay safe. Spend some time resting. And hopefully I have a voice when I speak to you guys next week. It's actually got a bit better as I've started talking, but it feels worse. So slay for me. Catch ya.